This is a James Poeartistry consultant moment. Sage Relaxing Sips, episode number 21. It was sure good to see the sage return back to town. I have to say, sometimes I wonder, where does all this money comes from? Here, when we got to the restaurant, I was ready to fully pay for our meal and, of course, our drinks. And yet, he would not allow it. He said, "This meal is on me." And so, again, I wonder, what does the sage do? And then I just started rolling around these thoughts in my head during the meal, because even though it had been a while since I've seen him, we didn't talk as much from his holiday or holidays, if you hear him tell it, and I just said extended vacation that he happened to have. And so it was quiet, but I mused about, how does this man go on a vacation and come back and still just as generous as ever, and actually had monies to give as a gift to someone who was fully prepared to pay for that meal, because again, his conversation was just that valuable. At the very least, I would joke and say it was worth a cup of coffee. But all the same, he wanted to pay for it. Now, remember, as I stated, the conversation was quieter than what it normally is, and it was just because I guess I was in my thoughts and he was still in his thoughts about his vacation. And you can tell the relaxation. See, there's a different aura, if you will. There's a different mood or mode when someone has thoroughly enjoyed their vacation. And the sage was the epitome of relaxation and enjoying his vacations. Well, after taking a sip, we happened to take a sip at the same time of this interesting new concoction that he wanted me to drink. After I took the sip, before I could actually put the glass back down, and he removed the glass from his mouth, he made an expression I never heard of before. And then I even said, "What language is that?" And then I started naming different languages that I won't do here. And he kept saying, "No, no, nope, no, no, nah." And he said, "You never heard that before?" And so I had to sit back and I meditated for a few seconds. I said, I believe I heard that expression one time before. He said, "Who did you hear it from?" And so I told him what relative I heard it from. He said, "You don't know what that means? Did the person try to tell you what it meant?" And then my memory started going right back to what I was doing at that time. And I was into some sort of reading. I don't even want to tell you because, he made jokes about it, my funny pages. And so it wasn't interesting at that moment of what the person was relating, because even back then I was into what I was into. And so he went on to relate that, knowledge is very powerful, and knowledge should be used for good. Never forget that. And I continue to, relate that I agree 100% about knowledge is powerful and that it should always be used for good. And then he says, there's even a knowledge beyond knowledge. So the same way they have languages that people can speak, from Russian to Spanish to Tagalog to other types of languages from around the world, The same way there are languages on that level where you hear the common ones and then the bush language, as some people would say, it's the same thing with knowledge. You have knowledge, and then there's other levels of knowledge. Whenever you happen to come across certain knowledge, you have to have your mind right. And some people would say you have to have your heart right to fully appreciate what it is. The Sage.